next will be Zia Stevens from Panthera, who's working in the Kafue greater area, where they've got quite a complex system incorporating SMART and EarthRanger.
Hi everyone, good morning. My name is Zia Stevens and I am Panthera's SMART Program Manager in Southern Africa. First of all, I just want to say a huge thank you to the ER team. It's so cool to be here today and to see all these people, and really all of us are being connected to see what we're doing, and everyone's doing amazing work. And there's been some amazing presentations so far. And myself personally, I've learned so much already, so thank you for that. So I'm here today to talk about SMART and EarthRanger integration across Africa, but more specifically across Kafue National Park, where I live and work. I should pretense this presentation with that it's still very much an ongoing and developing integration between the two systems. These guys have been working tirelessly with my million requests to help with everything that I'm presenting to you. And I think as more sites are coming forward as well, we're really experiencing where these tools can overlap together. And it's just really the foundation of the partnership going forward between SMART and EarthRanger. So yeah, again, so I operate in several parks across Southern Africa doing SMART implementation. This presentation is specifically about Kafue National Park, which is our park where I work most of the time. We've had a couple of presentations on it already, so hopefully it's a little bit familiar as we go. Kafue National Park is in central Zambia. It's 22,500 square kilometers in the park itself, and 66,000 square kilometers, including all the game management areas that you see around the park. So it's a massive landscape with lots and lots of different organizations, partners, technologies, and interventions towards anti-poaching in there. SMART we introduced in 2018 to Kafue, and have been using it ever since. And EarthRanger has only been introduced this year. So yeah, I'll go through that a little bit. So with SMART, we have over 40 patrol teams in the park capacitated with SMART Mobile. And across the park, all these yellow stars that you're seeing are where we have SMART hubs. For anyone here operates with SMART, you know, it's quite a big thing in terms of debriefing and having different conservation areas and that type of thing. So these are all the areas across the park where we have specific people dedicated for data downloading, processing, analyzing, running monthly reports, that type of thing. And that all gets compiled in a central database at our Chunga Area Management Unit headquarters, which is where our main operations room is for the park. And that is where the red star is. So with SMART, we have a bit of a bigger system than, probably more complicated system than a lot of parks, just because we're so big and we have so many organizations involved in the one park itself. So yeah, we use SMART on an everyday, day-to-day basis. We use it for a lot of our operational planning, our long-term trend analysis, our seasonal analysis, and our standardized reporting throughout the whole park. And that's in partnership with the government, with Department of National Parks and Wildlife, who are being upskilled to do this themselves as well. So like I say, this SMART started for us in Kafue in 2018. And has just been rolled out further and further across the park as time has gone on, to be able to manage and effectively report on the whole park as a whole, as opposed to just one section here, one section there, one section there. Yeah, and then with that in mind, we started with EarthRanger this year. So we're in Kafue anyway, new babies to using EarthRanger. Yeah, so we're really excited to introduce EarthRanger here. We're doing it under a project with USAID. We're implementing it into the park with several of the partners that you can see down the bottom here. We've been really lucky to have African parks come in and assist us with their, obviously we've all seen extensive knowledge of how EarthRanger works already. So we've had a bit of a leg up in that sense. At the moment in EarthRanger, we have our inReach devices, our digital radios, we have animal telemetry collars, vehicles, and also our aerial assets, all feeding into EarthRanger. At the moment, at this stage, we're mainly using EarthRanger for our real-time situational awareness and to coordinate patrol movements, operations, and rapid response across the large ecosystem that we work. So yeah, I don't know how many people in this room are using SMART as well. But I think coming from the SMART partnership, we get lots of questions about how, I think Jess alluded to it earlier, you know, how can we use both technologies? Do we still need to use both technologies? And how can they work together to get the best conservation outcome for our protected area? And so one of my jobs is to really try and find ways that they can work together without increasing duplication and while still achieving your conservation goals. So with that in mind, we are hoping to endeavour to use Smart and EarthRanger together in Kafue and several other sites where I'm operating. Yeah, to get strong information gathering, which then we can turn into operational adaptive management at scale across Kafue. So these are what at the moment in Kafue we're using the two systems for. We hope to add Tableau onto this by the end of the year as well. But right now, this is where we're sitting. So we use SMART for our pre-patrol operational planning, our post-patrol debriefing, our long-term trend analysis of poaching patterns and activities. We use it for our seasonal analysis. We do suspect information gathering, analysis, and profiling of specific suspect information coming in. I think a lot like Semantica, but we use SMART profiles for that. Same with our network analysis, our biological survey storage and analysis, and also our standardized reporting across Kafue as a whole. And then EarthRanger, I think similar to what lots of people are using it for here, is for our patrol planning, and really importantly, both pre and during our patrols. For those of you that know SMART, we don't work in a connected area. And so being able to operationally plan our patrols as they're actually happening has been a massive plus from EarthRanger. We're using it for our real-time situational awareness, our asset coordination, which in Kafue is quite large because, as I said, we have several partners operating in one area. We all have different inReaches, we all have different airplanes, we have different patrol teams, we have different reporting structures. And so EarthRanger has really brought all of those partners in together and is giving us the ability to show what's happening at Kafue at scale, regardless of what organization you're working for or what organization you managed under, just to give the whole park-wide view of what's actually happening on the ground. We are starting to use it for real-time visualization of telemetry data. So at the moment with African parks, we have the elephant collars streaming into the system. We are hopefully about to get our carnivore collars into the system and also our vulture tags into the system, which I'll talk about a little bit now. And then obviously through firms, we're using the fire management tool as well. So yeah, as you can see from this slide, there is some overlap between the two, but there is definitely some quite clear areas where SMART helps, and then also some quite clear areas where EarthRanger also slots in and does its thing as well. So yeah, just to make it a bit clearer and to give you more of a case study of how we do it in Kafue, and maybe for those sites that are using SMART, maybe you'll see the operational flow diagrams that I'll present, and maybe you can slot your own organizational flows into this. And yeah, I'd be really interested to hear from people how they're using it and how they would like to see it go forward as well. Every site that I at least work in for SMART that started using EarthRanger has quite separate and different needs and uses between the two tools. So I think, yeah, FZS and things we've been developing ways to make this work on a site-by-site basis. And like I said, this is just a developing thing as we go. So yeah, bear with me. So we really said to ourselves, how can we use these two tools to really get the most out of all the information that's streaming in? How can we use it to manage our patrols better and all of our assets better without providing so much duplication? We have very limited manpower on the ground where we are, and so making sure we have as little duplication as possible is really, really important for us. So our first flowchart that we have, and sorry, I don't have a pointer, so it's quite hard to point out. But basically, this is our first flowchart in Kafue of how we're operating, bearing in mind that we are basically a completely unconnected system in terms of no network on the ground, and that we're using Smart Mobile for everything. So essentially this is showing the top half being the process in SMART and the bottom half being the process in EarthRanger. So the top line, you begin your patrol in Smart Mobile. Any of you that are familiar would know this process. We've worked through a few of these. The patrol teams, essentially, when they're on patrol, they record any and everything that they see that has been predefined to them. At that point in time, the teams are trained on what a priority incident is, what we consider a priority incident that they need to feed back to the control room. And that if it's a yes, then obviously it gets called into the control room. Control room makes plans, deals with that in the operational center. Patrol carries on depending on what the situation is. And then when you get to the end of that, patrol is ended in Smart Mobile, patrol is ended in EarthRanger as well. This line going up the middle is just showing that during the SMART debrief phase, any information from EarthRanger that might have been updated in EarthRanger, thanks to the real life tracking, then can be updated in SMART during that debrief, and then sent across to do SMART reporting and compiled in one place to make sure the data is accurate on both sides and the same on both sides. So as a bit of a live, just a case study of this, team goes out carrying Smart Mobile device, they find a poached elephant. That's obviously a priority incident that enters EarthRanger through in-reach messaging or digital radio. And then obviously management makes decisions about what happens. Do they need to send another team out? We all know the drill. And then our control room instruct the team on what to do. Follow-up is carried out, patrol is ended in Smart Mobile. And then exactly what I said before, there's all of this information is then compiled and sent across to SMART, which is more of our long-term data analysis type tool. And our standard reporting is done from there. So in the most basic sense, this is how we see it working together in terms of our everyday patrolling in Kafue. Some sites are a bit different and maybe don't use Smart Mobile so much, in which case we've been talking about having all items flow into EarthRanger, added to the EarthRanger screen in the patrol room, and then hopefully that gets pushed across and sent to SMART in one go as a patrol package. So you're basically entering everything in EarthRanger and then sending it to SMART, which will hold your data long-term and do the reporting side of things. So again, it's very case by case on how your site works and looks and what works for you. But this is where we're sitting in the preliminary stages at the moment. And then, sorry, I apologize. I did get these logos around the wrong way, but I thought Bruce might kill me if I try to change my slides. So the first one we have here is, I think they alluded to it earlier, which is the beta version of non-patrol incidents in SMART and EarthRanger. So basically, this is the flow we're all aware of. An incident gets called into the control room. The incident is entered into EarthRanger as what's called the report. And then the idea being that SMART Integrate pushes that incident from EarthRanger into SMART. For us, this is going to be a huge one that we use in Kafue. At the moment, like I said, all of our teams are using Smart Mobile to collect their patrols. However, we often get things called in from tourism lodges, from us driving around, from whatever it might be that are urgent incidents that don't get put in Smart Mobile. They will get put straight into EarthRanger. And so rather than having to record it in EarthRanger and then again in SMART, this is going to be pushed straight across to SMART. So as far as I know, at the moment, they have this in beta version, and we're very excited to start rolling this out on the ground. The next one, which I think quite a few sites, 20, I think you said, are already using, is information you're collecting in SMART that might not be immediately put into EarthRanger in the control room. You know, locations of large herds of animals, stuff that's maybe not immediately important. Use it in Smart Mobile, gets downloaded and put into EarthRanger, into SMART, sorry, and then from there, SMART queries are created on SMART Connect, and then that information pushes itself through onto EarthRanger itself. So then essentially you have two things. You have one where your data is going from EarthRanger to SMART, and you also have your SMART to EarthRanger going the other way. Again, just trying to reduce any type of duplication and making sure that our efforts are being put where they need to be. And then right now of relevance, the last flowchart I'll show you, and sorry for the number of flowcharts, is how we're just using SMART and ER for biological monitoring. And again, this is hopefully, this is not 100%, we're not using this yet, but I'm hoping to corner these guys over the next day and get this going for us. So yeah, so at Panthera, we use a wide range of different collars and things like that. And so it's amazing to have this interface where we can put all of these sensor information onto the one screen and view, you know, our elephant collars with vulture collars, with carnivore collars, all in one place. And so we really want to start visualizing all of those on EarthRanger at once. So essentially our biological sensor data is going to stream into EarthRanger. EarthRanger is going to be used to visualize all that data at once, obviously in relation to our assets on the ground. Our data is then hopefully going to be pushed from EarthRanger through Smart Integrate into Smart Connect. And that then will be analyzed and reported on in through Smart and or Tableau if and when we get that going. So just as a case study for that, we recently tagged some vultures in the park, which we ourselves are specifically interested in using for points of interest for carcass identification, et cetera, as we all know, poisoning events. So as a case study for that, we're hoping that using the cluster analysis that Jess created for our Puma program, that clusters of vultures on the ground will basically generate a point of interest in the background and move bank. And then that will pop up in our EarthRanger system as a report, as a high level report. You know, here's your vulture, it's generated this cluster. We need to go and who's the closest asset to that. Let's go there, let's figure out what's happening. Our teams on the ground will follow up with that. And at the same time, those vulture locations will be pushed into Smart. And then all of our reporting and things will come through Smart at the end of that. And obviously this case study can be done for all of our carnivores and all that type of thing as well. So yeah, it's really exciting for us. It's my last slide on workflows and things. But yeah, it's really exciting for us. We have been working very closely with everyone, I think, on the EarthRanger team to try and make it as user-friendly and to get some really good case studies at the Smart Partnership level across the world about how they can use the two tools together. And like I said, just reduce duplication and get the benefits and things out of both of them. So yeah, I don't think there's anything.